It was the people. Like they're doing now, people writing letters, people marching, people in their states from all political spectrums coming in and saying, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And so if you're asking me what we can do, I know what we can do, but we've got to, as the great song. Here's the answer. In a poem and put to song by a man named James Weldon Johnson. He was an educator, a poet, a diplomat, a civil rights activist. And he said that this is what we have to do. Lift every voice and sing. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound like the rolling sea. We must sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us, sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on, let us march on, let us march on until victory is won. It doesn't ignore the wretchedness of our history. It speaks to the truth and the excitement and the hope about that past and the virtues that our ancestors gave us. He goes on, stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat, have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over away with the tears, which tears have been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered, out of the gloomy past, till now we stand at last where the white gleam of the bright stars is cast. The last stanza. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the night, keep us forever in the path we pray. Shadow beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God and true to this native land. What can we do? Is do like our ancestors did. What can we do? Do like the people who never gave up, who even when this country that they loved didn't love them back, they kept fighting and kept pushing. And we know that, Senator Klobuchar, because we've witnessed that. In my time in the Senate with you, we've seen the most amazing, shocking moments within the Bergefeld case at the Supreme Court, recognizing the humanity, the dignity, and the equal rights of LGBTQ Americans to have love and marry. We've seen fights. We've seen the fights while we've been here, some of the most painful moments where we've seen the arc of the moral universe bent, not by the people here, not by the people in this body. You think we got suffrage because a bunch of men on the Senate floor said, okay, guys, come on, put your hands in here. Ready, give women the right to vote on 3. Ready, break. That's not how it happened. It's not how it happened. It happened because the power of the people is greater than the people in power. You think we got civil rights because one day Strom Thurmond, after filibustering for 24 hours, you think we got civil rights because he came to the floor one day and said, I've seen the light. Let those Negro people have the right to vote. No, we got civil rights because people marched for it, sweat for it, and John Lewis bled for it. And so I'm scared too. But fear is a necessary precondition to courage.
Over half of the country tuned in to hear what Cory Booker had to say during his 25-hour speech, including Republicans, Democrats, and every party in between, including my own. Cory has been quoted in the past by saying, "Never let your inability to do everything undermine your determination to do something." And he sure proved that over the last 48 hours, and he chose to stand up and he chose to do something. And I, for one, think it mattered. I loved how he kept reiterating the fact that this was not partisan. It wasn't about left or right. It was about right or wrong. It is time for good trouble. Necessary trouble is what he said. He said his fear is that not only for these times in the future will we have to apologize for bad people doing bad things, but we will have to apologize for good people staying silent. I will not be silent, he says. Me either, Cory. No matter your political stance, what Cory Booker has achieved is honestly incredible. Before this, the record was held by a racist man who was fighting against the civil rights. When civil rights was being pushed forward, this man held the record for fighting against it, fighting against progression for 24 hours. Now, this record is held by a Black man fighting for progression, fighting for our rights, fighting for our Constitution, fighting for inclusion. And that is fucking incredible. Cory Booker, exhausted, nearing the end of his speech around hour 24 or so, he read this to remind people why he was doing this. And I'm going to read it off because it's quite long and I don't want to mess it up. But it's The Spirit of Liberty, and it was a speech given by Judge Larentan in 1944 in celebration of I Am an American Day. We have gathered here to affirm a faith in a common purpose, a common conviction, a common devotion. Some of us have chosen America as the land of our adoption. The rest have come from those who did the same. For this reason, we have some right to consider ourselves a picked group, a group of those who had the courage to break from the past and brave the dangers and the loneliness of a strange land. What was the object that nerved us, or those that went before us, to this choice? We sought liberty, freedoms from oppression, freedom from want, freedom to be ourselves. This we then sought, this we now believe that we are by the way of winning. What do we mean when we say that first of all we seek liberty? I often wonder whether we do not rest our hopes too much upon constitutions, upon laws, upon courts. These are false hopes. Believe me, these are false hopes. Liberty lies in the hearts of men and women. When it dies there, no constitution, no law, no court can even do much to help it. And what is this liberty which must lie in the hearts of men and women? It is not the ruthless, the unbridled will. It is not freedom to do as one likes. This is the denial of liberty and leads straight to its overthrow. A society which men recognize no check upon their freedom soon becomes a society where freedom is the possession of only a savage few, as we have learned to our sorrow. What then is the spirit of liberty? I cannot define it. I can only tell you my own faith. The spirit of liberty is the spirit which is not too sure that it is right. The spirit of liberty is the spirit which seeks to understand the mind of other men and women. The spirit of liberty is the spirit which weighs their interest alongside its own without bias. The spirit of liberty remembers that not even a sparrow falls to the earth unheeded. The spirit of liberty is the spirit of him who near 2,000 years ago taught mankind that lesson that it has never learned but never quite forgotten, that there may be a kingdom where the least shall be heard and considered side by side with the greatest. And now, in that spirit, the spirit of America, which has never been and which never may be, nay, which never will be except at the conscience and courage of Americans, create it. Yet in the spirit of America, which lies hidden in some form of the aspirations of us all, in the spirit of that America which our young men are at this moment fighting and dying, in the spirit of liberty and of America, I ask you to rise and with me pledge our faith in the glorious destiny of our beloved country. And I will leave you with his final words for the day when he said, "Let's get into good trouble, my friend. Madam President, I yield the floor."